Hi, dear folks. This is a Vogel approximation method. In this method, you see what we are doing. This Vogel approximation method gives us the initial basic feasible solution. Initial basic feasible solution. So what is initial basic feasible solution? Initial basic feasible solution is the one which is not optimal. And for that, we use different methods like Modi and stepping stone method. So this is the Vogel approximation method. You see over here, these are the factories. These are the factories F1, F2, F3, and these are the customers. So from these factories, the stock is coming to these customers. So what we are going to do, we are going to find out the initial basic feasible solution. So in that, you see, first step is to find the penalties. The first penalty we will find from the per unit cost of supplying from factory 1 to customer 1, that is 19. Okay, 30 is the per unit cost of supplying from factory 1 to customer 2. 50 is the per unit cost of supplying from factory 1 to customer 3. Likewise, all of them. And these are the supplies, the total supplies. Okay, and these are the total demand. So supplies and demand must be equal. This is mandatory for this Vogel approximation method, that the supply and demand must be equal. Because if the supply and demand are not equal, then you cannot find the initial basic feasible solution, which gives you the which gives you the less cost. Okay, let's start. The first step is to find out the penalties. So penalties, for the penalties, what do? We find the basic. We find from all these cost of the raw one the minimum cost. So the minimum cost is 10, and after that you see 19. 19 minus 10 is 19 minus 10 equals to 9. Second, in the second row, you see the least is the 30. The least is 30, and the second is 40. So after least, the 40, so 40 minus 30. 30 is the least, and after that 40. So you see 40 minus 30 is 10. In the third row, you see we have the least one is 20, and the next is least one is 8, and the second is 20. So 20 minus 8, that is 12. So you see, these are the penalties. Let me reiterate. The least of this 1, 2, 3, 4 columns in the row 1, you see the 10 is the least, the second is 19, so 19 minus 10. In the second row, you see the 40 is the least, and 30 is the least, and the 40 is the next, 40 minus 30. In the third row, you see the 8 is the least, the second is 20. This is the demand, so we will not consider this. Okay, let's do the same in this column. Which one is the least one? 19. The second is 40. So 40 minus 19 equals to 21. The least is 8. The second is 30. So 30 minus 8. 30 minus 8 is 22. So you see in this column, the least is 40, next is 50. So 50 minus 40 is 10. You see in this least is 10, second is 20. So 20 minus 10, that is 10. So the least is 10, the second is 20, 20 minus 10. So you see 10, 10, 10, 10, 22, 21. Let me make it clear for you. 50 minus 40 equals to 10. 50 minus 40 equals to 10. 50 minus 40 equals to 10. Okay, you see 9, 10, 12, 10, 10, 22, 21. So which one is the most biggest value? 22. So 22 is the biggest value and which is of this column. So you see in this column we will see which one is the least. So you see 8 is the least. In the 8 you see in the demand we have 8, in the supply we have 18. So we will take the 8. 8. This is 0 now. And this is 10. So since it is 0, so this will be cut. We will not consider this. So 8 units is allocated to this element. And you see what does it mean? It means the 8 units will be supplied from factory 3 at $8 per unit. So if we want to take out the total cost of 8 into 8 will be the cost of this only. Okay, let's move ahead. Now, since it is 0, so the both will be cut. Okay, now we are done with the first penalties. Now this column is done. This column is done. We are remaining with this column, with this column, and with this column. And this row is also in this row, first row, this column is done. So we will not consider this. Okay. Now we will do the same. You see, we have 19, 50, 10. 19, 50, and 10. So among the three, the least is the 10. The least is the 10. And the second is the 19. So 19 minus 10. In the second row, you see the least is 40. The second is 60. 60 minus 40. That will be 20. Okay. In the third, you see the least is 40. It will not be considered. 8 will, since it is already allocated. 40, 70, 20. Among them, the 20 is the least. Second is 40. So 40 minus 20. So you see, first is the 9, second is the 20, third is the 20. Now, we will do the same for this first column. So 19, 70, 40. So 40 minus 19, that will be 21, like before. This column will not be considered since it is already cut. This column will be considered and the values will be same. The least is 40 and the second is 50. So 50 minus 40. 10. In this you see the least is the 10, the second is 20. So 20 minus 10 is 10. So now we have found the penalties. You see this penalty, this penalty, this penalty, this and that. So which one is the biggest penalty? 21 is the biggest penalty, you see. So when the 21 is the biggest penalty, so we will start operation over here. In that you see, we will see the least value. So 19 is the least value. So in the 90s you see, we'll see the supply is 7, the demand is 5. So we will take the least over here. 0, it will be 2. Okay. So when it is 0 over here, so it will be cut, it will be cut. So this column is also cut, this column is also cut. Okay, now we are remaining with this and this column. C3 and C4 are remaining. So we will do the same with the C3 and C4 with the penalties. So which one is the least one? So you see the 40 is the least one, second is the 50. So 50 minus 40 is 10. Which one is the least one? 10, 20. 20 is the least one, second is 10. 10 will be the penalty. Over here we see 50 and 10. Since both are cut, one is allocated, one is cut. 50 minus 10 is 40. Okay, so 60 minus 40 is, since there are only two in this column, 60 minus 40 is and 70 minus 20 is 50. So you see 70 minus 20 is 50. So we have a biggest penalty, that is 50. Okay. We need to keep track of the total demand and supply with the every solution. Remember. Okay. Next in this column we see the least is the, we are already done. We are already done with this. So you see 10, 10, 50, 20, 40. So which one is the least one? Which one is the biggest one? 50 is the biggest one. So we will do the operation over here. So over here you see which one is the smallest one. So you see 20. In the 20 you see which one is the smallest one, the 10 or the 14. 10. 10 will be allocated over here inside. 10 will be allocated inside. Okay. 0 is remaining. 4 is remaining. When 0 is remaining, it means it is cut. It is cut. It is allocated. So you see over here, only the 4 are left. 50, 40, 10, 60. So we will take out the penalties for them. 50 minus 40. 50 minus 40 equals to 10. 60 minus 10 equals to 50. 50 minus 10 equals to 40. And 60 minus 40 is 20. So you see 50, 10, 20, 40. So 50 is the biggest penalty. We'll go there. In the biggest penalty, you see, in the biggest penalty, you see 10 is the smallest one. So in the 10, we see 4 or 2. So 2 is the small one. So we will take this. It is 0 now. And it is 2 now. It is 2 now. So you see when it is 0 now, so this will be cut. So this, only this 60 and 40 is remaining. So in between the 40 and 60, we do not have to find out the penalties for them, since the raw is already selected and there is only row. So what do we have to do? We have to find the smallest in between. So 40 is the smallest. In 40, which one is the smallest, supply or demand? Demand or supply? So 7 is the smallest, the demand is the smallest. So 7 would be inside. It will be 0 and it will be 2 over here. Okay, so now you see only 60 is remaining. Only 60 is remaining in the demand and supply. So it will be allocated inside with 0 over here, 0 over here. So it must be 0. The validation would be the inside, the demand and supply must be 0, because every single unit has to be allocated inside. It was 34, it has to be 34. You see, let's count. 5 plus 2, 5 plus 2 is 7. 8, 9. 9 plus 7 is 16. 16 plus 10, 26. 26 plus 8, 34. and that is 34. You see, we have allocated the all of the 34 units inside. Now let's take out the cost as well. If we take out the cost of this Vogel approximation method, so you see first allocation is 5 unit, so 19 was the cost, so 19 into 5, plus the next allocation is 2, so 10 was the per unit cost and 2 is the allocation, plus the next was per unit $40, 7 units, plus $60 per unit and 2 units, plus $8 per unit and 8 quantity, plus 20 is the per unit and 10 is the quantity. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 are allocated and 6 is done. So that's how you take out the cost of this, and this cost will be initial basic feasible solution. So whatever cost we will take out through this will be the initial cost, and the initial cost can be only optimal through the Modi method and the stepping stone method, through the Modi method and through the stepping stone method. So it's over us that what we use. So I usually use the stepping stone method. So over here you see 19 into 5 and 9 into 5, 10 into 2, and so the value would be 779. So the value would be 779. So 779 is the initial basic feasible solution cost we have found. Thank you very much.